Hello and welcome to another video. So today we're taking a look at Heal Haven. It's been semi-popular, I guess, in most, memeing kind of circles, but Healing Haven's always been great. I mean, Elena's Prayer has always opened up good options for just dealing with things and being a pretty much free +1/+1 on everything. And Tenko really pushed that with the attacking Restore 1 tier leaders, so the Elena and Tenko combos are always awesome. This deck, on the other hand, though, doesn't need that entirely to win, which you will see, as we are stocking the Moons and the Aethers, which work very well together, especially for that early to mid-game sections, along with a couple of Bird-Keeping Disciples for a little bit of extra damage, and obviously the plenty of healing to counter the aggros that are just everywhere. So we'll get right into some games, and hopefully enjoy the video. So, first matchup, Blood. Still floating around a little bit at the moment. People trying to work out what they can use as decent counter decks to kill off current meta decks. Obviously you will see a lot of Dragon and Sword, still most popular. This hand, not very good. Aether White Wing, not good for your opener. Heavenly Hound, not that great unless you do have Snow White, which we happen to redraw anyway. So I was hard mulliganing for any 1-drop or I think anything else that would just work. Not too bad. Black and Scripture, pretty much perfect when you're coming up against Blood. Getting rid of some of those pesky 3-drop cards. And of course, Blood dealing damage to itself makes my job a little bit easier. And of course, having the Priest of the Cudgel, great banish, great way to deal with things. And there it is, Bait the Noble. The only way you want to deal with Black and Scripture. Fortunately, I don't need to use it straight away, so playing this should be fine. I mean, if they do trade, it's not really going to be that big a deal. Plus, Blood's more likely to go face, so having them push damage really is favourable to me. Especially when I can just heal up. So optimal hands, yeah, you're looking for the 1-drop, you're looking for any of your 2-drops, maybe even an Elena's Prayer if you've got other things to support it, such as Beast Call or anything else like that. So, easy trades, clear out this board. We're pretty equal in footing, except for the fact that once I've cleared their board, it's going to be very hard for them to restock. So you'll see most Blood games end pretty quickly, they either run out of steam or you win. So pretty much 2 good options when versing Blood with this deck. Aiming for that Vania play, not going to get them far. Especially when Tenko can drop next turn, if we need it. It is unfortunate I didn't have any healing to go along with the Elena's Prayer. But Elena's Prayer worked out nicely with Heavenly Hound anyway, so why not take it? I mean, I can use this Tiger to trade and then force them to have to deal with this entire board, with Revelations being the only out, and even if they play Revelations, the healing from the Aether would just be absolutely crazy once I play that out and summon the 5 damage with the Evolve, so it'd be very hard to counter. So next match is Shadow, another deck that is semi-popular at the moment. I would put it in the tier 1, tier 2 category, just depending on variant.
Let the duel begin.
Starting off with both globes. I mean, why not? The Aether's a little bit of a pain, but the globes are pretty much perfect. Especially since I am only running 2, most decks will run 3, but I've found 2 for me is the sweet spot. Especially with the countdown amulets that are in this deck, you don't really need all 3 of them when you could just run more healing. Like I said, this deck doesn't entirely rely on the healing either. Well, healing, yes. You don't rely on the Elena's Prayer combo, that's kind of an extra. You don't need to focus as that being the only option, you can just outplay your opponent through healing and board presence, which is nice. You also could try and slot in a Decree if you wanted to mess around with the numbers of cards that you've got, such as Healing Prayer and Healing Angel and whatever else you've got. And of course, dealing with these 2/2 is not a priority. In turn 4 we get Priest, which is a much better way to deal with them. So Priest of the Cudge, getting rid of the 2/2. killing off the 1/4. We are going to take a little bit from it.
You're done for.
Just kind of setting ourselves up though.
I see your weakness.
Being able to pretty easily deal with most of this without too much risk to ourselves. Especially since the Snow White is just absolutely crazy for early game, especially against aggro decks.
Oh nice. Crystals of snow shimmer in the night.
Having that evolve is just so good.
Food should act like food.
Decay and shine.
So not too bad. I mean, it'd be nice if we got a healing card that we could combo off, which luckily we do, so Lens Pro actually is becoming useful now for this matchup. And due to Healing Angel, it's actually going to be handy next turn too. So we get a good amount of damage, 6 to face, 7/6 on board, forcing them to have to try and clear everything.
You've gotta see me dance.
Prepare yourself.
And we get to draw a card off the globe next turn.
See? I can be graceful too.
Winter ends.
Unfortunately, Froth's Curse being an absolute pain in the ass, killing off my big drop. But not a bad way to restock the board.
Let me ease your pain.
And push a little more damage. Do keep the evolve in case Priest is useful, which luckily I do because Death's Breath comes down next turn. Semi-expected, I mean Death's Breath is pretty common in most Shadow decks, mid-range or otherwise. So being able to just kill it off completely and still have lethal is pretty much what you want.
I see your weakness.
And a perfect
Looks like
9
you're
damage
the
lethal.
winner.
And our final matchup is Dragon. So most of these games with the Steelhaven deck, you'll either survive early enough and win in the early game, or you will drag the game right out to the end. They're pretty much the only two ways to go with this deck. And obviously relying on a lot of the early removal, while also relying on the early heals, and the combo of Elana and Tenko works really nicely for basically an infinite healing pool, provided they survive. This hand, not that great. Black Inscription is about the only good card to this hand, and unfortunately them ramping makes things a little more difficult. So I do go for the Healing Angel just so I have something on board. Doesn't get much advantage, but definitely puts us on the lead board-wise, which is what you want against Dragon. You don't want to be behind. You want to be playing from the lead.
The dragon's roar.
Especially when they play double Dragon Summoner. It's really not a big threat. That's why playing Priest here is pretty much perfect. I mean, what else are they really going to do? Even with the Evolve, it's only going to be enough to put some pressure on me, which will be pretty much countered by another Priest or Black Inscription.
Stop!
So I felt pretty safe to just play out another Priest, evolving the Priest that can attack being the better play so I can get the extra damage to their face while clearing their board, giving us a total of 6, putting them on 14. Which, considering Aether can drop next turn if we really need it,
Can't keep relying on you, Dragon.
it isn't too bad at all. Do have the bloody pain in the ass though,
What in the... Forge yourself.
with them being able to evolve and clear off most things.
Each other.
Still, the pressure I do like, so why not? I mean, we can use the Blacken, we go with the Evolve, we go with the Heavenly Hound, we get another 4 damage to their face, putting them down to 10, while also blocking up the board. And holding on to the Healing Water, just in case.
War is such sorrow.
So we don't need much more now, I mean,
The sky is with
we get
you.
5 damage off White Wing,
The moon drives me crazy.
plus a little bit of extra health on our followers, so it makes it a little harder to get rid of them. And we've also got Hollow Dogma, Black Scripture, and Water, all good 2-drops. So as long as they weren't going to Bahamut, we were pretty safe. Even if they had Bahamut, We'd only need 2 damage to actually finish this game off once you include the moon in our
Burn
hand.
the darkness. Scorch the light.
And lucky for us, PDK not doing its job very well.
Care to touch?
Needing a very large amount of damage on this board to actually win.
The moon drives me crazy.
Luckily for us though, double moon
Is this as
is
far
lethal.
as I go?
So that concludes Heelhaven. I mean, I've shown this deck off pretty well. Obviously the combos with Elana and Tenko are pretty common knowledge these days, so I shouldn't really need to display those, but they are a good option to have in the deck. For the most part, you can win using Moon and just surviving through heals. That's usually the better option to go with than trying to focus solely on an Elana Tenko combo. It's better off just having that Elana and Tenko and just Elana in general as an extra win condition, so you can easily bolster your board and go face while also keeping your health at a high range, especially against things like Sword and Dragon, where having strong bodies and being able to just roll face with them while also keeping your health at a stable level is really good. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, hit that like button and subscribe. Deck list will be in the description below, and I'll catch you guys next time. See ya.